Yeah, now stand and cheer for your Talking Basketball podcast. Welcome back to this episode. This is the second part of a doubleheader. If you haven't heard the first, go back and listen to it. If you can't be bothered, that's all right. Just keep listening to this one, and hopefully you enjoy it. And don't forget, like and subscribe. I hate it when people say that.
When the job came up, was lucky enough the owner and the CEO of the 36ers rang me one day once when I was still at the Advertiser, and I actually thought it was just for a story to write, but in the end it was just, would you be interested in being the GM of media for the club? And I was like, well, that's just a match made in heaven. So there's both of my loves put together. So let's roll with it, and here we are.
That must have been a really interesting phone call. Yeah, sure. Let me consider it, and I'll come to you. And inside going, hell yeah!
Yes! Let me think about this for a minute.
Imagine saying, can you just give me 10 seconds and put it on mute and go, yes! And then realise it's not on mute.
Yeah, just take your thumb slipped on it again.
I was actually with my wife. We were walking in a national park where I was having a day off, and the phone rang, and I'm like, oh, that's a work phone call, and then I'll just leave it. And then it rang again, and I'm like, well, I have to answer it. And that was the phone call. So I thought it was going to be work, but it actually was work in the end, but it wasn't the work that I thought it was going to be. Didn't know it was going to be actually a new job in my career.
That's very, very, very cool. And now when you look at that, I won't say not as an inflection point, but it has all come full circle from the separation of doing the basketball, doing the coaching, doing the media, then it all coming together. Do you look at that now and just think, okay, this is everything that I've done. I've picked up a bit along the way, and this role is made for me in that respect, for doing everything.
Yeah, for sure. So like the basketball journey for me, like playing as a junior and all that, and getting to know the local South Australian basketball community during that time, being a junior player and like a junior coach and stuff like that, and then to get the opportunity to be the newspaper journalist that I always wanted to be, and then to travel Australia and to have the chance to live in different cities and pick up different lifestyles and sort of hone my craft on the professional side, with the basketball in the back of my mind as a passion, and then to it is a full circle moment. So to come back and to actually have the opportunity to come back home, and then put basketball and media together. Well, when I remember when I did everyone does the LinkedIn, post, I have a new job, so, and every second comment or text, the phone call I got was like, this is the perfect job for you, which it is really. So you can use skills from both my basketball background and the media background to actually really emphasize and get our club as much exposure and as I can. So hopefully I can use a few skills and tricks I've learned along the way to make the 36ers brand just that little bit better.
And I suppose when Scott became was it at Christmas when he became head coach, that must have been quite nice, coming full circle as well, from NBL 1 to then, hang on, we're now at Adelaide together. That must have been cool.
It was. I did like that day where he became the interim head coach. I walked into his office and I said, now I'm the boss of you. You will now say what I tell you to say. Which he just laughed and told me to bugger off. So, but no, he's great. Like been around the league for, we said it was probably almost 4 decades now. So he knows the NBL back to front. No, it's probably forgotten more than I know about the NBL. So he's the perfect head coach for our club moving forward. He's the history's there. The legacy's there, and the way the players bought in the back end of the season, you can just feel that there was that moment there. And it wasn't like it was the sugar hit of the new coach, because, well, you saw it, Paul. Like, we won one game, but we obviously got destroyed in the next one that you watched. But it wasn't the sugar hit of new coach came in and we win the next 4 games and then struggle. It was actually was lost the first couple of games, and then by the end of the season we were rolling. If the season went for an extra 5 games, we would have been in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. And it was definitely unlucky that ball rolling down the hill of the wins didn't start sooner.
Yeah,
because you could see it was like, because when I got there it was like 10th, and you were taking on you took on Brisbane Bullets, who were 7th. Were they 7th or 4th? One of the teams I saw was 4th. One of the teams was 7th.
Definitely higher than us on the ladder. Let's put it that way.
But then it was like, oh man, look, they're going, and it was great. It was just like a complete bottle of positivity just got injected into Adelaide with him.
Well, you mentioned, Dale, about those the club and the community, and you're talking about the development and everything. What does Adelaide and 36ers, what do they do in terms of development and getting those players to that point?
Well, we're a family club. We're always known as a family club. We call ourselves, the 36ers family. So one of the big things, especially with Scotty coming in, was getting a lot of local players back to the club. So there was been a period of time there where good South Australian talent had left and were playing for other NBL clubs, and the players would get developed here. Like the South Australian junior basketball development program here is brilliant. Like, there's a lot of times South Australia winning national championships and stuff like that. So, and then the players go to college, but it's the time of the players finishing college and coming back. The 36ers in the past have sort of missed out on those players. Obviously, the biggest one was 20 years ago when a player called Joe Ingles, who's South Australian, ended up playing for the South Dragons based in Melbourne. In his rookie year, like, he was a South Australian junior legend and ended up never playing for the 36ers. So a lot of 36ers fans always bring Joe Ingles up and Brad Newley up, who's South Australian as well, who never played for the 36ers. So there's been that's been Scott's first big thing, is to bring the South Australians back to the 36ers, and not because, and as he's put it on record, not because we're bringing South Australians back because we're in South Australia. They actually have to be good and be NBL quality, which they are. Which is the players now. There's going to be 5 players in the roster next year which are South Australian. So the only South Australian last year was Nick Marshall. He's South Australian, and then we're claiming, or I am claiming, my mate Alex Starling. Now he's an American, but now is an Australian citizen, and he's been in living in South Australia for nearly a decade. So I'm going to claim him. But there's 5 South Australians now in the roster, with Jacob Rugoni coming back, Ben Grishty, who was in UC Riverside last year in the NCAA, and then Lat Mayen, who's played junior basketball with Jacob Rigoni and Ben Grishti. He played for the Cairns Taipans last year, so and he's come home as well. So the ethos is for the 36ers to be South Australian again, and we're slowly getting towards to becoming that. You get that state pride back in the club.
Oh, nice. I mean, it's a nice marketing message as well, isn't it? Having that whole that holistic, everyone is from this region and everyone gets behind it just that bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then there's other players that play in rival NBL teams now that are South Australian, which hopefully they can think of, I want to be a part of that. So when my contract's up, I want to come home as well. So there's a few out there, and hopefully a few of them are listening. And yes, we've got your name on the whiteboard. Trust me.
So okay. So it's a poaching tactic. Okay, love it. Great. And I like it as well because it's unapologetic. We are going to poach you, and you're coming back here. Fantastic.
And we got to mention his name. Talking about, I'm not going to say I'm going to say Australian legend, John Casey. You get to work alongside people like that. That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. John Casey actually celebrated his 1,000th game NBL broadcast last season. So it was that was a pretty cool moment. It was we played the Sydney Kings. It was in the back end of the season. He didn't know we organised a montage on the big screen, and both the Kings and us had signed jerseys for him. Your 1,000th game is it was in February. I think it was in February, January, one of them. Congratulations, 1,000th game on whatever the date was of the game. I do remember that we did win that game, so I know it was a win. But that was pretty cool, and to have. He just comes down rings me up and goes, "Can I come to training?" I'm like, "Of course you can come to training. You can come in, that's fine." So he works for Channel 7 here, local TV station. So I ring him a lot, especially dealing with the broadcast. Like he's either the play-by-play caller or the courtside reporter for the game. So the broadcast for the NBL is they're slowly getting the commentary teams back into the stadiums. Like obviously during COVID, they did the whole I called it calling from the caravan, but a studio where you can commentate multiple games from a studio. So, but they're moving towards getting the commentators back courtside, which I think is way better for the production, and you can just feel the game. It just feels different. Like you can just look at different places where the camera isn't showing the action, and you can pick up different things there. So there was a few games at the back end of last year where the TV commentators were there, and to have the best basketball commentator living in your backyard, it's a pretty cool thing for our home games to get called by the greatest, really. So it's pretty cool thing to have.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I wonder if is he doing any of the Olympics in a few weeks?
Unfortunately not, because the wrong TV station have the rights in Australia. So
because that's how we would know him. We would know him like from voicing other sports.
Yeah.
But definitely he's done basketball for the Olympics before, so that's where we'd recognise that voice from.
Olympics and World Championships. So there's usually a world feed. I don't know if he's involved in the world feed. I don't want to quote him. I don't want to break any news on on here. But usually there's a world feed for the Olympics where the broadcasters of certain countries have their commentators, but usually there's a world feed which can go worldwide for anyone who's watching, whether it's streaming or anything like that. So could be involved in the world feed, but let's hope he's in Paris, because he's the voice of basketball. It's weird for me watching a basketball game and not hearing his voice.
I mean, that we're just, I want to say brushing on media, but you just said the wrong TV channel picked it up. The face of media and how people consume sport has drastically changed over the last 10 years, it's fair to say. That,
definitely has.
How does that impact like your job, like the challenge of it? Because I mean, we're seeing some of the youths who play on some of the youth teams, and they consume, say, like a basketball game in like the 5-minute condensed game. That's how they watch a game, and you think, can you not sit for 40 minutes and watch it? But they can't. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's a challenge. So the NBL have broadcast partners, obviously ESPN and KO Sports, which KO Sports is the streaming service which is all the Foxtel channels here in Australia. So there's that. So ESPN is a channel on KO Sports. So it's obviously paid television or streaming service, and also Channel 10 is the free-to-air rights holder of the NBL. So this year there's going to be every Sunday like match of the week on the live on Channel 10's main station. So in Australia there's Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10, ABC and SBS. So Channel 10 will have the NBL on live every Sunday and on their main channel. So with digital TV, like every station has multiple or 4 or 5 different channels. So, but this is the NBL now for the first time in a long time will be on the main high definition channel in Channel 10 every Sunday. So for me, there's also News Corp. So my former employer, the advertiser, Herald Sun, Daily Telegraph, all those newspapers, they're a media rights partner as well of the NBL. So when it comes to my job, if there's if I have two press conferences a week, everyone's invited, but Channel 10, I'd organise Channel 10 to have an exclusive interview with someone else, so they have something different. That's part of being the broadcast rights holder, or for a newspaper, they might get the drop or the scoop on something, so they have a nice full page article on a signing or the schedule release, or where we're going to play a special home game or something like that, which gets released so it's in the newspaper the same morning as it gets released online. So there's a lot of like embargoed type information that I give to some journalists, so everything gets released at the same time. The biggest one with that, well, the first one that I did that was involved with that was when we announced that we were playing the Phoenix Suns and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, it was rumored for weeks and weeks, and I knew for weeks that we were going, but I could not tell a soul.
Who was the leak?
It was like it was a thing where contracts had to be signed. We couldn't officially announce it, and it was pretty tough. But once it got actually ticked off, it was like, okay, well, there's a 48-hour grace here, where it's like, yes, this is happening. It's going to get announced on Thursday morning, but you can start all your reports and that, so everything can go live the same time as we go live. So it's like, pick up the paper and like, oh, how do they know that? Well, because they knew, but it's just the timing of everything. So the broadcast partners and that get that sort of not free kick, but that they've earned that right to get that. So and then if there's like any other stuff, like the community stuff, I'm big on especially the TV cameras, not to training all the time. So there's times like last year, like we're in the schools probably twice a month. So the first time Trenton Flowers went to a primary school and did dunks on their hoop, and everyone was going crazy, like that was the perfect time to get the TV cameras there, and they just want the footage of Trenton jumping over children and dunking the ball on a hoop with no net and nearly breaking the thing, and it could have been.
I love that as well, and those kids all love that.
It could have been disastrous, but but the press conference is always usually who's injured, who's going to play, who's out, he's not in form. What about the other team? So the questioning is always the same. It's just I like taking the press conference on the road, really. So if we're got a school visit at a corporate partner or signing a corporate partner, like they're still going to say the story is still going to be the same. Head coach Scott Ninnis says about, but he's at the tire fitter, the company that we've just signed, or something like that, or he's at the primary school, or where Trenton Flowers did dunks over kids or stuff like that. So it's about changing it up rather than just.
I know exactly what you're saying.
At training today.
I've just thought of something. I can't help it. I'm going to paint a scenario. Oh, Paul's going to paint the scenario for you, Dale, and I would like you to answer what you would do in this situation. Paul, describe to Dale what the head coach of Panathinaikos did when at the beginning of the season. What did he say outwardly to the media?
So they just signed him. So in Europe we have the EuroLeague, which is the top league in Europe. Mm-hmm. Some people talk about it being probably the toughest league outside the NBA. That's kind of, I wouldn't comment on where I think that is, but that's kind of, you got a lot of ex-NBA players going there and stuff like that, and a lot of players like Joker, Luka go from there into the NBA. So he becomes head coach. He goes in front of the media and says, I guarantee you we will be in the Final Four. I'm going to win a championship. And they went and did it.
So if you're the media person, they did it.
Yeah, they did it.
But they hadn't been in the championship for like 11 years. They hadn't got anywhere near that for 11 years. And he just walks in and is like, I guarantee we're going to do that. As the head of media, when they come out and say that, do you instantly think, oh no?
I reckon Dale's going to be like, this is amazing. I've got a gold mine here. Just let him open his mouth and go.
First of all, if my head coach did that, regardless of the relationship we have, the first thing it was like, better go do it. The second one was, I've actually been involved in sort of a comment like that, which happened after we beat the Phoenix Suns, or sort of in between after beating Phoenix Suns and the start of the season. One of our main import players did come out and say it's championship or bust.
Wow.
Oh.
And fair to say it ended up a bust, but how I handled it was he wasn't in any press conferences at the back end of the year when it was definitely going to be a bust, because he was going to get asked, is it a bust? So he never ever got to answer that question, because Dale never ever put him in the position to answer said question.
It's double-edged sword, isn't it? It's like, congratulations, that's a really juicy bit of media, but now you're not going to go near a microphone ever.
So, and it's been stuff like that in the NBL before, like when the season Jock Landale played for Melbourne United in 2021, before the first game. It was a 36-game season, and he goes, "Oh, don't worry, we'll be 36-0, and we're going to win it."
I love that. I love the confidence.
Is there someone in the back
going? He was wrong. They went 28-8 and won it, but they won it, but didn't go 36-0. So the first time, and to his credit, and probably the Melbourne United media team's credit, but they were 8-0 or 9-0, I think, when they actually lost the game. And to Jock's credit, he went up to the media manager for Melbourne then and said, I'll handle this. Like, he owned it. So because there was, I would have when you're 9-0, you're probably going to be close to winning it than not. If they lost the first game, that would have been interesting. But he did own it, and even in that situation, that early on in the season, I would have instructed that player, whoever it was, that said it. That they said, "Well, you've said it, mate. You've got to, you got to deal with it. You got to deal with it." Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? There's probably a spin you could do on that where it's like they go
you
in
can
front and
spin
going,
anything.
yeah, like, you know, I said 36-0, we're going to be 35-1.
Yeah.
There's just,
And
you could do a funny spin on it.
and that's when you just say just pull the handbrake up, like seriously. Like
Do the players and everyone, do they have, does at the beginning of the season, do they get a Dale presentation of these are the things you can say and can't?
Yes,
Oh,
they do.
wow.
They do. There's usually have a weekly, like a narrative, some dot points on the training, on the change room wall, like who we're playing, their form, like if they've said anything about us, if there's like a hostility there. Like there was a big one last year when DJ Vasiljevic came back to the NBL after leaving the Washington Wizards. His rights were owned by the Sydney Kings, but he didn't want to play for them, and they held it up, and he just sat out a couple of games, and then he played with us for the rest of the year. So that first game that we played the Kings, it was like, this is it, because it was he said was going backwards and forwards, and there was a long time between him actually starting to play for us and us actually playing them. It was a good 2 months. So it was backwards and forwards, and when the actual week came, I was like, I went to DJ myself, and I'm like, well, you're not talking this week. Like, I'm not putting you up. I'm purposely not putting you up. You can do, like, it was on game day, but you can't say no on game day. That's another rule in the league. Like, you know, if you know, that week, for example, you know, if they said, oh, we want a pre-game interview with DJ because he is the story, I can't say no to that on game day. But everything leading up to that game, I can, or can put other people up in instead. So, that was one where it was just like, we'll just.
So you can't say no on game day. So if someone says, Dale, we need to speak to him on game day.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's why I left Paul at the end of the game. I was running around like a madman.
He's good doing his stuff.
I want him.
I know. Just imagine that, because every single person would be like, Dale, you know exactly who we want to speak to. He's like, oh, no.
And you know what? The one thing that really stood out for me in Adelaide was DJ. He comes across like a player who is so passionate and wears his heart on his sleeve when he's playing. And I love that about players. When you can see they're upset and you can see it, they just wear everything out there. I love those players. And he kind of plays like, I don't know if I want to say this or not, but he kind of, just my interpretation, he kind of plays like he's pissed off all the time. And I really like that about him. He just looks like he's annoyed. I don't know if he is or not, but he just looks really aggressive. Spirited, yeah.
Yeah, but
he's definitely a passionate man. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
You have players like that, like, you know, the Kevin Garnetts of this world, who were just, they were wired the whole time, and just everything was at 10. Everything was.
I love that about him. Just thought, you know what, that is my kind of player right there.
It's exciting to watch as well. Yeah. Just even, you know, for a game, even not just entertainment purposes, but just as a player, anyone like that, it's always entertaining.
And I suppose, Dale, just, you know, moving forward now, what could we expect from Adelaide next season?
Championship.
Hang on, don't say that. We calm down. Actually, you're not going to get Dale saying that. He's
smiling. He's not saying no.
Too well rehearsed.
He hasn't said no. It's a motto I've lived by in life. He hasn't said no.
No, I'm not just talking the team, but I'm talking like the actual organisation itself. Is that kit staying as well?
We're going to take it 1 week at a time.
Okay.
Nah. This kit here probably won't stay, unfortunately. There's a heritage round. There's going to be a new, well, not a new, but we're going to wear another heritage
Oh, nice.
kit.
I love the one you had this season. I know.
So do I.
I loved it.
I must admit, I love that uniform. I'd have that as the uniform all the time, but that's just me, and that's Dale being, very historical and dramatic about it. But
and when we got to the arena, we went to get one, sold out, and then we went to
that one, the dark blue one there.
No. This is the one that says Ghana on it.
Yeah, that one.
Is it? It says Ghana, but you pronounce it Ghana, right?
Oh, you mean the indigenous one?
Yes. Is that not what you were talking about?
No. Well, this is the one.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the Ghana one. Yeah, that's that's the one they won a championship one, isn't it?
It is. So there'll be another indigenous kit there's a new indigenous artist that does a jersey every year for indigenous round. So there'll be a new Ghana version this year. Another one for your collection, Paul.
That was cool. That was really cool. Really nice.
Out of all of them that I saw, that was the one for this season was my favourite.
It was totally unique. There's no other league on the planet that does that.
I was surprised how many people actually was commenting about it to me, like going, "Yeah, that's a great kit."
No, it was amazing. But like you said, you just couldn't get it. You couldn't get your hands on it.
You can go to the NBL store and you can go
get it online.
Every club has their own, and there's a story behind it, and I go interview the artist, and there's a story behind every design. The 4 championships obviously is a main pillar of every design of ours, so there'd be like 4 stars or 4 something like that. So hopefully in seasons moving forward there's 5 or 6 something like that. But
championships is predicting it already.
But moving forward, like from now, it's go time. Like the schedule is about to be released, and then once the schedule's released, then it actually is go time. Like how to promote the games, market the games, what game's going to be what round. Is there which one's indigenous round? There's a pride round. There's a heritage round. We're going to make the Christmas Eve fixture, Paul, that you went to a standard, so it'll be a third year of Christmas Eve. So that's going to be our sort of game, festive game. So the Kings got on to Christmas Day, so Sydney Kings always play Christmas Day. We're going to make Christmas Eve whatever day that is in the week. So hopefully as one of those, I think the afternoon game really worked for Christmas Eve. The night for Christmas Eve probably not so much. So there's the planning around that. Everything off the court is pretty much in go mode. So there's 2 players left to come in. The preseason will start in July, and it'll be the opening night will be around it'll feel like tomorrow, and we'll be starting. So it's full on. The next, let's say, 3 months will go in like 3 minutes.
Well, and I was just trying to find it on my phone, just give people an idea. Again, I've done this before, but where is it? I think it's this one. What an atmosphere that is. How cool does that sound, Mark?
Yeah, that's very, very good.
That was one of the games.
It sounds like I'm working.
And it's little things as well, this one. They just won the game. Yeah. But look, the crowd are going nuts.
Well, it's the fact that you can hear the crowd up there with the music, and it's like you're saying, in the concert atmosphere. It's not just the music's booming and you can't really hear any. There's no atmosphere, sort of thing, which sometimes you get.
So we have Seven Nation Army from the White Stripe. Seven Nation Army is the song for whenever we win. So that's the winning anthem. So hopefully I hear that a lot.
Okay.
Moving forward. So
how confident do you think for the season?
It's the NBL. Like, I'm gonna put my media manager's hat on. Anyone can beat anyone. Like, literally anyone can beat anyone. That's media manager's hat, coach's hat.
Yeah, but so let's look what Adelaide did last season.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So let's take that hat and let's take that hat off and put it on the side. Let's talk to Dale, who's a passionate basketball fan. What do you think? Well, are you confident?
Well, there's two spots to go. So if we get two very good imports, I will be quietly confident that we will be in the finals.
There it is.
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the playoff finals.
You only have to get there. Once you're there, anything can happen. You just got to get there.
And just for clarity for those of us around the world listening, the NBL format for the playoffs, just quickly, what is the format on that?
Well, there's really no quickly to it, but I'll try and make it quick. So we brought in the play-in tournament a couple of seasons ago. So there's 10 clubs. It was usually a top 4, but then the last couple of years there's been a play-in tournament. So it goes now to the top 6. So it's really helped the back end of the season. So for even us, for example, the last 2 seasons we were in the play-in conversation right up until the last week of the season. So if it was just the top 4, like, our season would have been like mathematically done like probably a month out or 3 weeks out. But because of this play-in and the competition being so tight now, like the difference between, I think it was 3rd and 8th was like one win or 2 wins at the end of the season. So it was really tight. And like so the play-in, so top 6, 1st and 2nd automatically get through to the semi-finals. Third place 4th, whoever wins that is in the semi-finals, and then whoever loses 3rd and 4th will play the winner of 5 and 6. So 5 and 6 becomes an elimination game, and then they play the loser of 3rd and 4th, and then the winner of that game then becomes the final 4. So that's how it works. Usually there's the play-in is before the FIBA window. So there's a FIBA window in February every year. So the NBL will have the play-in up until the FIBA window, and then there's a good 10-day break before the semi-finals. So it's a real massive advantage to finish in those top 2 spots, because you pretty much have 2 weeks off before the playoffs start.
Well, I mean, I can speak for Mark when I say you guys have got 2 Adelaide 36er fans over here in the UK, and we're going to be rooting for you this season. That's 100%. Sure. So,
100%.
You know what? I just wanted to give you an idea again. This is, and I'm going to say, this is a random play. Mm-hmm. Okay, this isn't anything huge, but listen to the crowd.
That's what she said.
That's a random play. Yeah. A random play.
That's what you want.
And that is, 10,000 people being pretty loud. One thing I did like, and I wish I nicked, which was when you hit a 3, obviously we can't do the pyro, or the smoke and the bangs and all that. But
the person involved pressing that button may have gone a little bit early sometimes as well. It might have rimmed out.
brilliant.
Oh, that's good.
No, I know. I exactly how he feels. My heart reaches out to him because I've done that before. You press the button and they'll throw a brick up, and you're like, "Oh man, I thought that was going in," and you just put the and you have to kind of do a quick double tap to stop it. But that sound, sorry, it's anytime someone hits a 3, it is what was it?
Wasn't it a Star Wars one?
No. Anytime it hits a 3, well, I've stolen that one. I've literally gone, that sounds so great. Every time you hit a 3, it plays a music track, and it's like, wow, that sounds so cool. Again, when I was with the kids, they're like, Dad, you got to copy this for the Portsmouth Force. I was like, yeah, already mental note already made. But yeah, hopefully you can pick up on those sounds. I don't know.
But how do people? What is the outreach like internationally? You know, we talked about the games. You talk about your local fans and everything like that. It's being broadcast at ESPN, I guess, is the main offshoot internationally for that sort of stuff. But how do how do people in the UK watch an NBL game, for example?
Well, I'd have to be online, or you see the highlights.
YouTube.
Usually.
There's a YouTube channel for international viewers. So
Okay.
I remember when we were in the States and the NBL season started. Well, we were over in the States. Everyone did. It was YouTube. So international viewers can watch them all on YouTube, which is I think they're all free too, so it's no subscription or anything like that. So don't hold me to that. I've only clicked on it twice when I was in the States. So it's YouTube for international viewers, and for us, my first season we had Kai Soto in our roster, the 7'3" Filipino phenomenon, which he's royalty in the Philippines. So we had the whole of the Philippines cheering us on because Kai Soto he's the king. So he was we had a lot of Filipino fans, and fair to say they take the losing just as much as I don't like losing. So they're very passionate fans. So he now plays in the Japanese B League, Kai. So he's moved on to the Japanese B League, and all his fans obviously follow him on from there. So yeah, but a lot of so import players and Asian players like that into the league that's where the international fans come from. Obviously, Alex Sarr from Perth had a lot of French fans touched the league this year, and I know my one of my best mates, who's the GM of media in Perth, he got heaps of media requests from France regarding Alex Sarr. So the international reach of the league is only getting bigger, and you know, as of yesterday, you know, Carmelo Anthony is now an ambassador of the Next Stars, and moving forward, he's going to be an owner of.
He was talking about it, wasn't he?
Franchises. So he joins Kenny Smith. So the best, the best basketball program in the world is inside the NBA. So to have Kenny Smith, one of the faces of inside the NBA, saying that the NBL was a great product and is an ambassador of our league, then it's obviously got to be. It's only good for us. So now I think it's the league's going to grow rapidly in the not too distant future.
And you've got is it called Hoop Fest coming up this year in September? In Perth.
Hoop Fest in Perth. So what the footy codes have done in Australia is have what the footy codes is called Gather Round, or what the rugby league called Magic Round, where all the clubs go to one major city and play a round of the season there. So Gather Round is actually in South Australia, in Adelaide, for the AFL, and that's been a huge success. Like there's 9 games of footy over a 4-day period, and all the games get sold out. So a lot of interstate travel. So that's what all the state governments like, getting these initiatives in their home state, because it gets a lot of interstate travelers. So Hoops Fest is going to open NBL 25. So all the games will be in Perth, and it's going to start obviously they'll do Melbourne United and Tasmania Jack Jumpers, the grand final rematch. So to kick it off, and then the 36ers actually we're playing the Kings in the last game, so of it on the Sunday. So it's going to be 4 days. There's the NBL's playing, the Women's National Basketball League is playing their preseason event at the same time, and then there's a national club under 18 championships, which is the first time Basketball Australia has ever done this. So it's the 48 best club under 18 teams from Australia wide.
Oh wow!
Are going to be in Perth, and obviously that's huge for basketball in this country, and obviously NBL coaches and WNBL coaches will obviously go to those championships because they're the stars of the future. They're going to be in those rosters moving forward. So it is literally going to be a hoops fest. There's like a sneaky convention and stuff outside of the games. So it's the first time the NBL's ever done it. Going to kick off the season, and hopefully I get a ticket over there to be there.
I'm sure it'd be a very relaxing experience for you if you did go. I'm sure it'd be absolutely, you'd be flat out. You'd put media hat straight on, wouldn't you? And you'd be like, oh, we could do this, that.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it won't be just organising one club. It'll be organising 10 clubs to be in one spot at one time, which is the launch of it. The launch of Hoops Fest was a couple of weeks ago, and it dare say it took probably about a month of planning to get every person in one spot for one press conference. It went for about 15 minutes.
Wow. I mean, yeah.
We did it.
It's just the logistics that you've got. Obviously, I just thought it was quite amusing in a way that everyone's going to Perth. It's like the most Western place. There's no other teams around. Perth is just there. In most other spaces, I mean, even Adelaide to a point, but people still travelling and say the south is fine.
Melbourne, and just not down the road from these guys. Well, down the road in Australia terms.
Exactly, but just Perth, everyone has to travel, and proper travel, not just like we could maybe get there. Like everyone's got to proper travel to get to Perth. There's no way around it.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a silly question, Dale, but I know obviously in the NBA, if you win a championship, you get like a ring. Did they do anything like that in Australia?
Yeah, there's championship rings. There's even championship rings at NBL 1 level because I have one.
Bloody hell! You have to send me a picture of that. Unless you're wearing it.
It's gold. No, I'm not wearing it. It's gold, but I dare say it's not gold. But no, there's rings, and there was ring ceremonies. So the first home game Tasmania played next season, there'll be the ring ceremony.
Oh, brilliant! Dale, please tell me if Adelaide win a championship at some point, do you get a championship ring as well?
No.
Oh, because I know they do in the NBA. They do, the whole organisation get one.
They do, yeah.
You should lobby for that change, Dale. Just saying. Put that out there.
Yeah. I'd like to win it first. just let's just win it first.
Well, we've already got you edited saying that you're going to get in the playoffs. So I can just chop that around a bit. That's fine.
Yeah.
We've got Dale on record saying that they're going to win it. Sweep the lot.
Well, I mean, you know what? I'd say to round this off, really a bit on what Dale said, and I know it really. I know exactly what he's saying in the media when, not just in basketball, but when you hear people talk, and it's just like, okay, this is not. I don't want to say rehearsed, but it's like this is the normal spiel. Do you know when you're interviewing people and you're just like, so how was the game? And you're listening to them talk and you're going, okay,
how's the weather today?
I'm hearing the response I've heard a million times before, just with a different team or a different result. But that's what I like about these podcasts is a bit more. It's a lot more real.
Yeah. 100%.
It's, you're getting aspects and not as much rehearsed stuff than you would, and you get people's actual perspective, if you know what I mean. And definitely this one is probably one of the most unique perspectives we've had on the show.
100%. Although I still believe that it's going to be a pitch invasion by an animal of some sort.
At some
in the
point.
season coming up. There's going to be a bat.
court.
There's going to be a bat in the arena or something.
Dale,
Or I tell you what,
he generally believes the
I
stadium
guarantee-
is surrounded by a desert.
I promise you, if I was in Australia and I walked into that stadium, a crocodile would come up from that centre court or something, and I would literally look Dale in the eye and be like, "I damn well told you that's going to happen. That's it. I
Yeah.
knew it.
It's not.
It would follow me."
It's not the outback. It's like a
just saying.
major city.
Dale's already told us he goes to the games on a kangaroo.
Mark, I'm telling you now, you will go to that arena.
living the dream.
At some point in your life, we will be in that arena and we'll sat there and you'll sit in the chair and you'll go, I know exactly what you're saying now. You go, bloody hell, this is a comfy
This
seat.
chair
Bloody hell, this is loud.
uses
Bloody
the
hell,
leather
the crowd are well
from the
up for it.
crocodile that tried to attack me out there.
God,
skinned it and put it in a chair.
Anyway,
Got it.
But anyway, that's what I like about the podcast is you get those not rehearsed, you get unique perspectives. So so that Dale, thank you very much. That's great. But
It is very great. But do you know what?
Mark has got his questions.
I have got my question, but I want to say just it's really nice hearing a really positive story about that whole full circle thing, Dale, that you have that love of basketball and you've talked about community and the amount of time that people see, we've so many people we've interviewed, coaches and players and assistants and helpers. Basketball can be all consuming and people don't see that. What they'll see is they'll see Dale during the working hours. They don't see the hours you put before, they put the hours after, the midnight calls, the early rises, all those. They don't see any of that. And you made the joke about speaking to the president of your life and that, but having a supporting partner. I know Paul said it with his wife and that, having all those things around is so important to be able to sustain and deliver in the, don't want to say live the dream, but to do that. So it's really nice to hear that sort of positive story because we don't get loads of positive stories these days in life. And so it's really nice to hear something like that. And you get to ride in the kangaroo. So, I mean, that's a win. But yeah, no, thank you for sharing.
I can tell you the real story now. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, Dale, you said you had a funny Hungry Jack story. What was that?
No, I told it. No, I said whenever there's Hungry Jacks, and because I have four family tickets.
Oh,
which
yeah,
my
cool.
family
Yeah,
use, and
sorry. I'd written a note.
they're still on my phone, and they'll get some. Hopefully, most games get some very healthy supper on the way home.
Might you have to edit that one out.
Usually 11 a.m. at night.
That's
11 p.m. at night.
That's the bit that made me laugh is that when you said that, and I'm thinking, what time's he going home? So he's got I got 4 burgers here. I'm just going to stack them before I get in, and then I guarantee you still go in the fridge when you get home. You're like, oh, that's just want something a little sweetener at the end.
They don't last to get put in the fridge. Trust me.
Right.
So Dale,
Mark, your question.
in tradition, if you've got that one clutch player, it could be anyone from anywhere, the clutch player that ball goes to and you think they've got this. They're taking that money shot. Who would it be?
Forever?
Forever. Yep.
NBA, Australia, NBL 1, personal, whatever you want.
Oh,
Who you passing the ball?
I can't say that because I'd get other players that might not hear this that might come after me. But you got to go Jordan. I'm
Yeah.
a Bulls man, Michael Jordan.
There we go. I mean,
I know he put out an ad how he failed 22 times in his life, but I reckon I'd take that chance.
yeah, missed 9,000 shots and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're still great,
Yeah.
Mike.
It's
Still giving you the ball.
It's the most consistent answer for that
Yeah,
one.
absolutely.
MJ.
So, with that...
And I'm still a Bulls man. I haven't jumped off. I'm still a
Listen, someone
Bulls man.
has to be Dale. Someone has to be. Someone's got to look after him now that they've just rotten into... look, the reality is if Derrick Rose was healthy and stayed healthy, there's a different story for the Bulls, but sadly he wasn't.
Yes.
So,
I've never even been in that game against Philadelphia, but
no.
I digress.
Yeah, we're not going there. Don't blame Derek. What he could have been. No, and they got Zach LaVine with that horrific contract that they can't get out of. But yeah, they've made their own bridge there. Five and Pine, as we like to delicately call it. Paul, does Dale get the one for coaching as well? Does he get to call the coach as well?
Dale's got a championship ring as a
coach.
NBL one coach. Of course he does.
So he gets the coach. You got to 5 and Pine, so that's the 5 players, your all time. And you can take this how we want. You can have your best 5 players of all time and one on the bench, or you could have what you think would be the ultimate team. You tell us what it is.
It could be NBA. It could be Australia.
It could be a mix. You could put your mate Bob in there.
Jeez. So I'm picking 6 players.
Yeah.
6
Is that
players.
right?
6
Yeah.
players. One's got to be on the bench.
Ooh.
And
I'll
you
put myself on the bench with the 5 I'm going to pick. But
do it. We've had some people have looked at this and said, I'm just doing this to fill the time while you think. But, you know, some people have put it and done it personally. And they've said, these are people I'd want to play with and put themselves in. Some people have said, this is the best team I think would ever operate together. And some have just picked their favourite players and said, these are my favourites.
Well, some people
but they won't play together at all. You
put
know?
players in who they've played with or
Exactly.
they've coached or...
Yeah, we've had some that are not famous, but not in the upper echelon leagues.
Thing is, as soon as you start putting NBA players in, you're probably going to have everyone will be NBA. So
Yeah.
it depends if it's personalised or all NBA kind
Mix
of
it
thing,
all
isn't
up.
Yeah.
Mix it all up.
well, I could say the South Adelaide Panthers starting 5 2022 championship team. They were pretty good.
There you go.
That would do it for me. But if we're going all-time team, it's got to be Magic Johnson for the 1. Then I'm going
Magic.
I'm going on the wings. I'm going Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. I would have Larry Bird as the stretch 4 and Shaquille O'Neal in the middle. That would be my 5.
That's actually my 5.
Who's coming off the bench?
Oh. Jeez. It would have to be a utility player that can play multiple positions. So... that's tough. That's really tough. But I'm going to go... Scottie Pippen.
Ooh. And who's coaching?
I don't think they need a coach, to be fair. Best coach... Can't go past the Zen Master.
Wow. The Zen Master himself. Wow. Yeah, I mean, he's going to play nicely with MJ, isn't he? That's for sure. And Scotty. But
He knows Kobe. And he knows Shaq.
There we
yeah,
go.
Yeah, he did all right with Shaq, didn't he? Look, I always say to people, if you pick MJ, I always have MJ, but I have him on the bench as number 6, just because he'd be really, 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 really angry that he was benched, and really, really angry Michael Jordan, like statistically and in finals, no one's matched him. It's like no one's touched MJ as far as when he was ill, sick, peed off, whatever. So that was my view, just to get him angry for a quarter or something.
We actually did that at the 36ers. We did one of those Moneyball things where we had 25 players and 5 for $5, 5 for $4, and you had to pick a team with 25 legends, 36ers legends, and that was very well received and a lot of arguments.
So you're running that again this year, then, yeah?
So I had to make sure that DJ Vasiljevic and Isaac Humphries was in there. They got a mention there, but just to keep our marquee men for this season happy. So they were in there. I made sure that those 2 were in there, but that did cause some serious arguments and debate in South Australia and around the NBL.
That's brilliant. That's really good to hear. I love that. A nice bit of controversy, wind people up, throw some opinions in the mix, and just sit back and watch that grenade go off.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Adelaide do this year, and like I said before, it'll be great to see how Trenton Flowers does in the NBA draft coming up.
Yeah.
Very soon, couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over 2 days, though, which is unusual.
Well, hopefully we'll find out on day one where Trenton is.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I very much hope and pray that his name gets called out on day one.
Yeah.
Who would you like him to go to?
Anyone with a pick in the first round.
Who's got the first pick?
I think that'll be Mr. Alex Sarr. Will go to the Atlanta Hawks, I reckon. It's either Atlanta or Washington for Alex Sarr, so I think.
Well, if they do that, they'll move Trey on anyway. So there's going to be a lot of movement in, certainly in the NBA. There's going to be a lot of movement, I think, this off-season, as soon as that comes in. But you do, just say quickly on that, in the NBL, is there a lot of movement of players in terms of contracts and stuff?
Well, we don't have trades as such, which is probably the next moving beast that'll probably come in. But
okay.
There's the free agency period was really, really big this year. Like it opened, free agency opens about 2 weeks. I think it's 15 days after the last grand final game. So that first day there was a lot of players moving. There was about 13 players that signed with new teams. But the rules state that teams can't talk to free agents until that day. But funnily enough, 13 players sign on the first day. So don't really know how that happens. I think mobile phones must quicken up or something. I don't know. Maybe something happens there. But there was a lot of movement on the first day, and there was the league did it was pretty much like deadline day in the EPL. They tried to mimic that. It was a bit of a it was a 2.5 hour show, live show, and like every 15 minutes there was a new signing to somewhere, and they'd break it down. So moving forward, that has a lot of legs. But from a club media manager's hat on, I would like to know what was happening before it actually happened, because we were literally watching it live as it went, and we signed someone that was like, okay, he's ours, so let's go. So the league knew, so it was the league's thing. And it as a journalist, it was brilliant. As a club media manager, it was a nightmare.
Especially if they just announced to players, oh, someone's just signed them. What? I've just done a promo for them. They're going. Okay. Thanks.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it. 99% of the moves I knew, but there's a few there. There's a few curveballs, but but hopefully moving forward, we have a lot of guys locked in long term. So free agency for us moving forward, hopefully is not really all that big.
So is there anything you guys want to give a shout out to before we wrap up, coming up for the Adelaide 36ers?
Well, no, the schedule isn't out, so I can't say we'll see you at the first home game on whenever, because we don't know. So
when will that schedule then? When should people flock the website and your socials to find out more?
Any time between now and the end of June, which is not really really concrete, but there's a date where hopefully it's all out, but don't really want to say that date, because
so July
said date could get moved. So imminent.
So in
schedule release is imminent.
So July, realistically, it should be solid.
Everyone will know by July.
I hope so. I hope so. I really hope so. Because I'd like to start planning the season. That'd be nice. That would be really nice.
Well, look, I'm very confident I speak on behalf of a lot of fans of the Adelaide 36ers when I say we're all looking forward to the season starting. And you know what? I will finish my bit where I started when I did the Adelaide 36ers, which is saying what a fantastic organisation from top to bottom. The players, the entertainment, the sound, everything you see on social media, it's just like they are getting everything right. And it's just great avenue on the show, Dale. So thanks very much for gracing us with your presence.
Yeah, massively appreciate it, sir.
No worries. Anytime, boys. And next time, Mark, I'll bring my kangaroo in so he can say,
Yes.
"G'day there."
Yes, I knew it. I knew this all along. I knew it. But if you want to go back and check out the other episode we did on Adelaide, I can't remember which number it was now. We've got about 160, 170 episodes, so go check them out. We've got plenty more of those coming up, and I'm sure we'll get Dale back on during the season just to wind them up a little bit. But until next time, I have been Mark.
And I have been Paul, and we have had Dale Fletcher, the GM of media for the Adelaide 36ers. Cheers, Dale.
See you, boys.